Hi kids, this is your friend Aarchi welcoming you all to the Aarchi series by Heavens Publishing House. And this is English series for class 7, right? This is your English course book children, English Skylights. And today we are going to begin with chapter number 6, that is In the Memory of a Lion. So, are you all ready? Good. Okay, so who are these people? Yes, these are the freedom fighters of our country, that is India, right? Okay. Shahid Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Subhash Chandra Bose, these people had lived their life for the freedom of our country, right? These are the freedom fighters and we remember them to this day for their sacrifice, okay? Now, this story, this lesson is also a one such story of freedom fighting, right? Fighting for the freedom of the land. Now, who are the people involved in this story? This story of Shivaji. Who is Shivaji? Right. Chhatrapati Shivaji, right? This is the story of Shivaji and his childhood friend Tanaji, whom Shivaji sent to take back the Kodana fort, which was captured by some insane Mughal ruler, right? So their Kondana fort was captured by some Mughal ruler, and this story is all about how Shivaji calls Tanaji in order to recapture the Kodana fort, right? Now, let's get started. Tanaji Malusare was Shivaji's childhood friend and companion at arms. Companion at arms means they had fought many battles together. They were companions, right? Now, he was very brave and daring. Shivaji proudly called him his Simha or lion. Tanaji, he was so brave and daring like a lion that Shivaji used to call him Simha or Lion Tanaji. He planned and fought many a battle by the side of his leaders. They were determined to free their land from Mughal domination, Mughal rule. So, Shivaji and Tanaji, they had fought many battles together and this time they were determined to get back their Kodana fort from the Mughal rule. Okay. Now, Tanaji lived in a small town of Umratha. Where did he used to live? He used to live in the small town of Umratha. One morning, Umratha wore festive looks. Colorful bunting fluttered in the street. There was Mangal Kola every door. Tanaji's son was to be married that day. People went in and out of his house, busy running errands. Now children, what is happening one morning in the town of Umratha? What is happening? It is the day of Tanaji's son's wedding. The streets, they were all beautifully decorated. You could see colorful buntings. What are buntings? These are some strings that you see and they have colorful triangular paper stuck on them and they are used as decoration pieces. Every house in Umratha wore this festive looks. There were happy faces all around. People were running errands. All the people in the house, they were busy running errands for Tanaji. They were taking short to the market in order to get something for Tanaji or for themselves. Right. Just then, a messenger came galloping down the street. Galloping down, that means he was riding on a horse. A messenger, he had brought some message from the king. Right. Look, cried a man who had noticed him in the distance. A man noticed him coming from a distance and he said, look, what news can he be bringing? He asked Tanaji's servant who was near him. Before the servant could reply, the rider came to a stop in front of them. They were discussing what news could he be bringing from Shivaji as he had recognized the messenger that he was coming from Shivaji and now they were wondering what news could he be bringing for Tanaji. Right. Before the servant could reply, the rider came to a stop in front of them. He leapt off his horse, he jumped off his horse and said, "Where is Tanaji? I must see him at once." He demanded to see Tanaji at once. This shows that it was a very important matter that he had brought here. Right. "In the house, sir," answered the servant. The servant answered, "In the house." He had recognized the rider, so he said, "I'll take you to him." He took him right away to Tanaji. And the servant called out, "Sire." Why did he say sire? Yes, sire is used when we want to address somebody who is in some high social status than us, right? So it is out of respect, to give respect, we say sire. Okay. So Tanaji and his wife were busy selecting and packing clothes and ornaments for the bride and the groom. It was the day of the wedding of their son, so they were busy selecting some jewelry and clothes for the bride and groom. "Who is there?" When the servant called out, he replied, "Who is there?" "Surya ji," servant replied. That it is Surya ji who has come to talk to you. Tanaji peeped inside the jewel case he was holding and stepped forward. "Come in, Suryaji." The moment he got to know that Suryaji has come, he dropped the ornament box on the table. He stopped whatever he was doing and welcomed Suryaji. Tanaji put aside the jewel case he was holding and stepped forward. "Come in, Suryaji," he said. Suryaji entered and bowed to Tanaji and his wife. He bowed in respect. "Welcome, my friend. What brings you here?" Tanaji asked Suryaji. "What brings you here?" His wife too stopped inspecting the sari she had in her hand. Her wife, Tanaji's wife too, stopped doing whatever she was doing and came to listen what Suryaji had to say. Right. "Shivaji wants you at Raigad immediately," said Suryaji. Suryaji replied that Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji, he wants you at Raigad immediately, right now. Okay. So Tanaji knew at once that it was something serious. He knew that otherwise Shivaji would not have beckoned him. He would not have called him, right? So this has to be something important, something serious. He turned quickly to his wife and put his hand affectionately on her shoulder. "My dear," he said, "you know I have to go postpone the wedding. My first duty is to my leader and my land. Come, smile and bid me farewell. Do not worry. Suryaji and my men will be with me." He did not think twice before postponing the wedding of his son, right? The moment he knew that Shivaji needed him, he told his wife that "I am leaving and you must postpone the wedding." This was the kind of relation Shivaji and Tanaji shared. It was of complete trust, right? He knew that it must be something important and he had to leave right away. Okay, and so he told his wife to prepare for his leaving, right? And he also asked him not to shed a tear. Tanaji's wife was stunned. She held back her tears. She was shocked, but she still held back her tears and she did not cry. "Please wait." What did Tanaji's wife say? She said, "Please wait." She went in to prepare the tilak and aarti for the farewell. Whenever people used to leave houses for some important work or soldiers used to leave their houses for some war or fight that was to happen, their wives or the women in the house used to put tilak and perform aarti, right? So Tanaji's wife did the same. Tanaji buckled his sword and stepped out of the room. He buckled his sword and he ran out of the room. He ordered his men to be ready to accompany him. He ordered all his men that "we have to leave, you have to be with me," that they had to come with Tanaji to Raigad. The news spread and soon the soldiers assembled outside his house. All the soldiers, They started assembling outside Tanaji's house. After his wife had applied tilak on his forehead and performed the aarti, Tanaji took leave of her. Tanaji left for Raigad soon after tilak and aarti. Right. Leaving an army of horsemen, he rode fast to reach Raigad fort. Tanaji walked straight into Shivaji's room and found him sitting in a pensive mood. Pensive mood? Sad mood. So, he led his army to Raigad and straight away he went to Shivaji's room after reaching there. And there what he saw? He saw that Shivaji was sitting there in a very sad mood. Raje, I'm here at your service. What did Tanaji say? He said, Raje, I'm here at your service. I am here for you. What do you need from me? Oh, my Simha has come. My lion has come, exclaimed Shivaji. He embraced Tanaji. He drew Tanaji into a hug, right? He hugged him and said, come sit down. We have a difficult assignment. We have a difficult job to do. Ma Sahib feels that the other forts are not safe as long as we do not recapture the Kundana fort. He said that Ma Sahib, Shivaji's mother, she feels that if we do not recapture Kundana fort, our other forts are also not safe. They are also in danger, right? Udam Singh Rathod is in command of the Mughal forces. What did he say? Who is in command of the Mughal forces? Uday Singh Rathod, right? That men are guarding the three gates. Uday Singh, men are guarding the Kundana fort from all its three gates. His sons are also with him. All of them are very brave fighters. Uday Singh's sons were also very brave fighters. There is also the killer elephant Chandravati. Chandravati was a very fierce elephant, right? She is a force by herself. She is very difficult to defeat. I thought, but can't find a way of capturing the fort. Shivaji said that I can't find a way. I can't find how to recapture the Kundana fort. That is why I have called you for here. So you are the only one who may be able to find a way. He said this to Tanaji. The lines deepened on Tanaji's brow. Tanaji was now deep into thought. Then he spoke, I have planned. The fort is guarded only on three sides. We will try to enter from the west. He said that since the fort is guarded on all the three sides, all the three gates, we will try to enter from the fourth side, that is from the west. What did Shivaji say to this? He said, what? Shivaji sprang up. He stood up immediately. Enter from the west. You are not planning to climb that precipice. It is unattainable. What is a precipice? Precipice is something that is very steep, right? It could be a rock, a mountain, a wall around a building or a fort that is very steep. The slope is very steep and it is unattainable. That means it is very difficult to climb that precipice. Okay. Tanaji said coolly, no, Raje, it is not the way I intend doing it. This is not the plan. I am trying to do something different. He then explained his plan to Shivaji in detail. Right? Shivaji, after listening the plan, he said, it is a daring plan. Very difficult to execute. Everything depends on just one thing. That this plan is very difficult to execute and everything will depend on just one thing. Yes, it is difficult, Raje, but not impossible. We will prepare well and we will succeed. Tanaji sounded confident. Tanaji was very confident of his plan that yes, it might seem difficult but not impossible, right? That he was very confident that if he prepared his forces well, they would be able to recapture the Kundana fort with this plan, right? Very well. Shivaji said, very well, go ahead with your preparation. May Goddess Bhavani bless you. Tanaji bowed to Shivaji and right. He called Suryaji and some of his personal friends who were waiting in the adjoining room. Suryaji and some of his personal men, personal people whom he trusted were waiting in the adjacent room. He swore them to secrecy and then told them of the plan. He made them swear that this plan should not leak out in any case. And only after that, they had sworn not to leak the information, he told them the plan. Okay? He said, we begin preparing at once, drill the soldiers, perfect them in the use of arms, but do not tell them for what. We have to take the enemy by surprise. We said we start the preparations right away, but we will not tell the soldiers that why are they being prepared for, what are they being prepared for. They will make the soldiers practice, drill the soldiers, perfect them in all the use of arms. But they were not to be told that where they are going to fight or when are they going to fight, right? It was plan that has to be kept in complete secrecy, right? Soon everything was ready. Tanaji called his friends and announced. Soon everything, all the preparations were done and he called his friends and announced, tonight we will attack. This is the night they were going to attack the Kundana fort. It was a moonless night and nothing will be visible. You must be absolutely silent as you approach Kundana fort. He said that since it is a moonless night, it would be better for us. We can go unnoticed into the fort. So all of you must be very silent as you approach the Kundana fort. I will take the iguana. What is iguana? Have you seen iguana? Right, it is a very big lizard. Right. He took the iguana and the name of the iguana was Yashwanti. Right. With her help, we will scale the rock. We will try to sail the rock, the precipice, with the help of iguana. See what the plan is? Then he turned to Suryaji and said, you are to take the rest of the men and wait at Kalyan gate. We will throw it open for you. He said, Suryaji, you must take some of the men to Kalyan gate and wait there. We will throw it open for you. He said, you will wait for us there. Last minute preparations got over and they marched to the fort quietly as shadows. Right? Very quietly, very silently, they were watching like shadows to the fort. In a short while, they reached the foot of the precipice they were to climb. Tanaji tied a rope to Yashwanti's neck. Yashwanti, the iguana, he tied a rope around his neck. Then he threw her up hard so she could clutch the wall. What was their plan? That they would tie the rope around Yashwanti's neck and then they would throw her up with full force and she would clutch the wall and then using that rope they would climb up the precipice. Okay. But the iguana lost her grip and slithered down. But first time Tanaji threw her up, she could not clutch the wall. She could not get a grip on the wall and she slithered down or slipped down. Right? Oh, it is a sign of bad luck, claimed one of the soldiers. One of the soldiers said, oh, it is such a bad luck, right? Tanaji whirled around. He turned around in anger. Who said that? There is no place for superstition in a soldier's life. That in a soldier's life, one should never be superstitious. He must only have faith in himself and God. When you come to fight a war, the only thing that a soldier must keep in mind is faith in himself and his God, right? No superstitions allowed. Tanaji once again hurled the iguana up with greater force. This time, he threw the iguana up with a much greater force. This time, Yashwanti gripped the top of the fort wall. This time, he was able to succeed. Tanaji breathed a sigh of relief. He was relieved that, yes, the first part of the plan was well executed. Hand me the bag containing the ropes. Now, he said, now give me the bag that contains all the ropes. A soldier gave it to him and he slung it on his back. He threw the bag on his back. He said, I go up first. I'll be going up first. I will tie the ropes to the projections on the wall and let them down. These that you can see here are some projections that are made on the top of the wall. and let them down. I will now, after climbing, I will let all the ropes down, using which you all can climb up with their help. You can all climb up. Remember, not a sound. He again reminded them that they were not to make any sound at all and they had to remain very, very silent. Okay, Tanaji held the rope tight and climbed up and up till he reached the ramparts. What are ramparts? These, children, are a thick wall made of stone or earth that is used to protect the fort or any building, right? These are the ramparts. So he climbed the ramparts, he reached the ramparts, the soldiers followed him. When he threw the ropes, the soldiers also climbed the ropes and they reached him. Within minutes, they were at the top. Now all the soldiers were at the top of the fort. Okay? Tanaji whispered, there must be a number of guards posted on the ramparts. Here also, there must be a number of guards. Take them unaware and silence them. They should not be allowed to sound the alarm. He said that we must take them surprisingly. They must not know that we are here, otherwise they will sound the alarm, right? So we must not let them do that. We must not let them do that. We'll get down and attack the soldiers inside the fort. Let's go, he said. After that, we'll get down and attack the soldiers that are inside the fort. The men stormed the fort and overpowered the guards in no time. They overpowered the guards. They killed those guards. Shouting, Jai Bhavani, they rushed into the fort. And after killing those guards, they rushed into the fort. Everyone shouted, Jai Bhavani. Right? The Mughal soldiers offered quick resistance and a fierce hand-to-hand fight ensued. The Mughal soldiers, they also gave a very tough fight and a hand-to-hand fight ensued. That is, it began. One of the Mughal soldiers quietly slipped out and rushed to inform Uday Singh. One of the soldiers, what he did? He went to inform their Raja, right, that the Marathas have entered our building. They have entered our fort. Marathas have entered my fort. But how? Cried Uday Singh. How can they enter my fort? He sprang from his bed. He jumped up immediately and hurried to the next apartment. Wake up, my sons. Tell the Mahaut to get Chandravati. She'll crush the Marathas in no time. He asked them to get ready for the battle and also asked them to call the Mahaut to get Chandravati. And he believed that Chandravati was going to crush all the Marathas to death. She was such fierceful. Okay. Uday Singh's sons joined in the battle and Mahaut sent Chandravati charging into the fray. Marathas fought bravely. Chandravati was killing everybody. There was mayhem all around. But the Marathas were also fighting very bravely. The casualties were heavy. A lot of people died that day. Among the first to perish, who were the first people to die among the first ones? It was Uday Singh's 3 sons and Chandravati. They were the first ones to die. The elephants, Chandravati, the elephant. Tanaji went looking for Uday Singh. After killing them, Tanaji's next target was killing Uday Singh. So he went looking for him. Uday Singh had by then heard of his son's death. He had by then known that his sons are no more and also Chandravati was killed. He rushed into the melee. What is melee? Melee means a crowd. When you see a crowd, a confused crowd who is hurriedly pushing each other, fighting with each other. So he entered the melee. Tanaji, you have a lot to answer for. You can't escape me. He threatened Tanaji that you have a lot to answer for. Right? That we'll see, cried Tanaji. With drawn swords, they closed in. They started having fights. They were having a fight with their swords. Right? Both were brilliant swordsmen. They were brilliant in the game of the sword. The battle raged fiercely around them. The battle was in full force. The attackers had got the better of the defenders. Who were the attackers and who were the defenders? Yes, the Marathas were the attackers and The Mughals were trying to defend themselves. In a strategic move, a section of the Maratha soldiers had thrown open Kalyan Gate. Few of the Maratha soldiers had moved strategically and opened the Kalyan Gate for Suryaji and his men. Right. Tanaji and Uday Singh were locked in a life and death struggle. They were fighting for their life. Both were tired and they were bleeding profusely. They were bleeding immensely, both of them. Uday Singh made a gallant effort. He made a very brave effort and plunged his sword into Tanaji's chest. Tanaji stumbled and fell. He could not take the blow and he stumbled and fell. Quite unexpectedly, what happened? He sprang up. He again stood up and inflicted a mortal wound on a triumphant Uday Singh. Mortal wound, that means? It means that it was a wound that took his life. Even after being injured, Tanaji sprang up again and inflicted mortal wound on Uday Singh. He killed him. He fell dead. Tanaji too collapsed and died. Both the swordsmen, both the brave soldiers and fighters, they lost their lives. They lost their lives owing to each other blows. Now, all was quiet when Suryaji entered the fort. Everything was quiet. Then both the leaders have died. He rushed around looking for Tanaji. He found him lying in a pool of blood. He knelt to feel his pulse. He saw that Tanaji was lying in blood all around. He knew that something was wrong. He knelt down and tried to feel his pulse. He looked aghast. He was horrified to get to know that his friend was no more. His grief soon turned into anger. We must complete your task, he said to Tanaji, that even if you have lost your life, we are here, we will complete the task that you came here for. He muttered, drawing his sword. He drew out his sword and he joined the battle. The Marathas, infuriated by Tanaji's death, fell on their foes like tigers. Now, the Marathas were so angry at the death of their leader Tanaji that they started fighting like tigers. They fell on their foes, that is their enemies, like tigers. Uday Singh's death had taken the fight out of the Mughals. Once their king and his sons, they were all dead, fight was already half won. The people were disheartened and the fight was taken out of the Mughals' hands. After a brief struggle, the Marathas won the battle. Kondana fort was once again in their hands. The Marathas had recaptured the Kondana fort. Okay, Suryaji returned to Raigad fort to inform Shivaji of their victory. He was anxiously waiting for them. Shivaji was very nervously waiting for a news about the battle. Now Suryaji came and informed him that Raje, the fort is taken. Raje is used for king, right? Raje, the fort is taken. Said Suryaji, good, but where is Tanaji? Who asked this? Yes, Shivaji asked, okay, it's good that you have reclaimed the fort, but what about Tanaji? Where is he? Suryaji hung his head and remained silent. He just bowed down his head and said, he was not speaking anything. So Shivaji asked, speak, Suryaji. He shook him by his shoulders. He said, what happened to him? He is dead. Suryaji said in a broken voice. Suryaji could not control and crying, he said that Tanaji is no more. He is dead. Shivaji's face went pale as he mumbled, the fort is won, but my lion is gone. He turned and walked to the window. He was very sad. He said that I might have won the fort, but my lion, my Simha, my Tanaji is no more. I have lost him. Right? He was very sad. He stood there looking out of the window. A memorial of Tanaji stands on the spot where he fell in the Kondana fort. And till date, in Kondana fort, there is a memorial of Tanaji where he fell and died. Right? So, have you all understood this story? It was interesting, wasn't it? Yes. Okay. So there were many great leaders who have lost their lives in the freedom fighting, right? They have lost their lives in trying to serve their land or their leaders. They had to face pain, exploitation, extreme torture, and hardships to bring us freedom. So, children, we must always remember that this freedom that we have today has not come at a very less cost. It is there. We have this freedom because of the so many brave soldiers, so many brave people that who have fought and sacrificed their lives for, right? So we must always respect them. Now let's start doing the question and answer. Take the correct answer. Number one says, Dash was Shivaji's childhood friend. Who was it? Yes, Tanaji Malusar. Right? Shivaji proudly called Tanaji, he called him his Simha, his lion, right? Number three, Shivaji wanted Tanaji to be at Dash immediately. Where? Yes, he wanted him to be at Raigarh immediately. The name of the killer elephant was? Yes, Chandravati. Tanaji and Uday Singh both were brilliant in what? Yes, they were brilliant sportsmen. Right? Clear to all of you? Let's move on. Okay, now the fill in the blank. Shivaji proudly called him his Simha or what did he call him? Simha or Lion Tanaji. Right? Clear? Number two, Dash bunting fluttered in the street. What were the buntings like? Yes, they were colorful. So, colorful bunting fluttered in the street. Number three, it is a dash night and nothing will be visible. What kind of a night it was at the um, night of the battle? It was a moonless night. Okay. Number four, they should not be allowed to sound the alarm. They wanted to take them by surprise. Number five, his grief soon dashed into anger. Suryaji's grief, it soon turned into anger. Right? Number six, Dash was once again in their hands. What was in their hands once again? The Kondana fort was recaptured by them. Right? True and false. Tanaji Malusare was brave and daring. Yes, he was. So, true. Right, children? Number two, Suryaji was Shivaji's companion at arms. So, was Suryaji Shivaji's companion? No, it was Tanaji. So, it is false. Right? Number three, Tanaji believed that his first duty was to his leader and his land. Yes, it is true. Number four, Shivaji was shocked to hear Tanaji's plan and believed that it was a difficult one to execute. Yes, at first he did believe that. So it is true. Number five, Shivaji called Tanaji as he wanted to recapture the Kundana fort. Yes, it is true. Mughals won the battle and Kundana fort was again in their hands. Is it true? No, the Marathas had recaptured the Kundana fort, so it is false. Marathas had won the battle, right? So let's all proceed. Now let's answer the following questions. Describe the festive look of the small town of Umratha. What was the reason? How did the town of Umratha look that day? Yes, the town of Umratha was decorated with colorful buntings. The colorful buntings were fluttering in the streets. Every house had Mangal kolas. That means every house, the people were very happy. There was happiness all around. And what was the occasion? Yes, it was the occasion of Tanaji's son's wedding, right? So that's why Umratha was decorated so beautifully and people were happily moving in and out of their houses, running errands, right? Number 2, why did Tanaji decide to postpone his son's wedding? What happened? Yes, Shivaji had sent his messenger Suryaji and called Tanaji to his place, that is Raigad, immediately. That is why Tanaji decided to postpone the wedding, as he knew that it must be something very important that Shivaji had called him immediately, right? So he postponed his son's wedding. Number 3, how can you say that Tanaji was sincere about his duty? Give some examples from the story. Now children, how can you say that Tanaji was very sincere about his duty? Yes, number 1, we saw that he did not think twice before leaving the house, before postponing his son's wedding. He left the house straight away when he got to know that his leader or his land is requiring him to be at some place else. So he left there, he left the place, he left his son's wedding without thinking twice. And also we saw that he laid down his life, he sacrificed his life for his land, for his leader. So yes, Tanaji was very sincere about his duty, right? What was the assignment for Tanaji? What was the job that Tanaji was assigned to do? Yes, it was to recapture the Kondana fort from the Mughal domination, from the Mughal rule. Okay? Why did Shivaji used to call Tanaji my Simha? Because Tanaji had fought many battles with Shivaji and he knew that he was very brave and daring, right? So that is why he used to call him his Simha or lion Tanaji. Describe the bonding between Shivaji and Tanaji. State some examples from the story. What examples can you give, children? Like we can say that the bonding between Shivaji and Tanaji was of complete trust. They trusted each other completely because when Shivaji called Tanaji, he did not think twice before leaving for Raigad immediately. And also when Tanaji described a plan of recapturing Kondana fort to Shivaji, though Shivaji thought that it was a difficult plan, he still agreed to follow it. This was a kind of trust relationship that they shared with each other, right? I hope all these questions are clear to all of you, right? Good. So, children, that was all for this chapter. I'll see you guys with the next chapter. Till then, stay elated. Bye, kids.